G'day, that's Slot Car Guy here and welcome back to another slot car review. And today I have a slot car from Spain. It is Falcon slot. You may or may not have heard of those. This is my first Falcon slot car, and what better way to start than with a Porsche 924. As always, we'll do a review of the car, we'll do a tear down, and then we'll try and post a fast hot lap around my track. So let's get stuck into Falcon slot's Porsche 924. To another slot car review, and as I said in the intro, this is my first Falcon slot car, and what better way to start than a Porsche 924, and I'm a huge Porsche fan, so extremely happy that I found this model. Now let's take a look at the livery before the tear down. It's very simple, it's white, it's got the Hugo Boss writing down both sides of the car and a couple little spots here and there. I love that. Screams 80s, it is from the 80s. Absolutely love this livery. Let's go around to the front first and take a look. Quite a unique looking Porsche, rounded off front end with the inset lights, not pop-up light version. Really cool. And then we've got the air intake on the motor. Looks incredible. Beautiful, nice bit of yellow touches on the side. That's some shell writing in yellow. I like that with the black shell. Really, really cool. And there's even the finer detail of a tow hook in the center. Let's go down to the driver's side. Now, unfortunately, I can't zoom in too far, but take my word for it, the interior of this is really, really well detailed. You've got the gear stick, you've got some dials going on, very, very nicely done. And the model himself, from what I can see, is a full-sized model. I can actually see his legs in there. Let me try and quickly zoom in, but I don't like our chances of getting in there, very dark. But please take my word for it. Love the mismatched rims, like the true race car. Whites on the fronts and some gold mesh at the rear. Beautiful looking rims. Let's have a quick zoom in on those. Look at that. Very, very good looking slot car. Aerial on top. Let's quickly go around to the passenger side. Same decals. Both drivers are printed on the doors. But the main difference on this side, there is a light. Now, I'm going to guess that might be the driver change light. When the second driver's in or the first driver's in, that light lights up. I'm not sure. Hit the comments if I'm wrong, but that does happen in motorsport. But I like how they've added that little bit of detail. And actually, let's jump around to the bonnet. We've even got where the battery is, so that the power sign. So if you do have a crash, they know where to disconnect the battery. Really cool. And one massive windscreen wiper. Let's go back around to the side quickly, and I like how the window itself is half open. So the side next to the driver's head is half open, exactly the same as the passenger. Moving around to the rear, we've got a little bit more detail work in the, and there's going to be a bit of glare here, sorry guys. There's a fire hydrant in there, there's a bit of roll cage work. I think there's a fuel, you can see your fuel up on the side here, and there's some fuel piping going through the bonnet, through the boot. Really, really cool, well executed, looks incredible. And even down to the dual fuel cap, one there and one on this side. So really well done. Now, I love this, look at the back. A little bit of a wide body kit, squared the car off. These are quite a round car at the rear, or a very smooth car, but I love how it's just given a real aggressive stance. So really good looking slot car. And then we've got the Boss number plate. Awesome, 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 awesome. And if I can get a good view on that, the nice little bit of wing work attached to the rear window. And obviously on the real car that would lift up. So really cool slot car. So let's get stuck into the teardown, and then let's take this thing for a spin around my track. So I've completed the teardown, but before we get into that, just a quick info on the company itself. There wasn't much I could find. I believe they were released in 2017, 2018. It appears from Home Racing World's blog from 2017 that this company started around then. I did try and visit falconslot.com, but unfortunately that website, when I did try, appears to be discontinued or cancelled or not in existence. So I do not know if this company is still going. It is a Spanish company. They may or may not have any influence from FlySlot. A lot of companies in Spain do look at FlySlot for ideas, but I don't know if they are affiliated with them. So that's as much info I had on the actual brand itself. But please do your own Googling, and if you find anything else, hit the comments. And if there is info, please hit the comments, because I love being educated. Now, I have removed the car from its display stand, and this beautiful gold flat head screw was holding it down. Love these screws, very simple, very easy to remove, and it holds the car very tightly, so I do like those screws. To separate the chassis and the shell were these unique half-threaded, quite long screws, and it took 4 to release the car, which is quite easy. So now while we're talking about that, let's take this beautiful shell off. Let's remove the chassis for now. Let's just have a quick look inside the shell itself. Now there is not much room in here at all. Now obviously this doesn't appear to be digital ready in any kind of way, so you'd have to jerry up whatever you can to make it fit your digital chip. But there is still some nice little hints of quality in here. You can see the rear of the grille work going on there. Let's have a quick look at that. Sorry, the camera's playing funny buggers. You can see the back of the lights. It is quite a big cockpit. I believe a lot of companies now are doing half cockpits now, so you've got some more room to play with. But it is quite a filled-in shell, and it's light. I really do need to get myself some scales, but what a beautiful looking shell nonetheless. Let's take a look at the business end of this. And here it is, and as always, I've got the Hurrell RS slot car track sitting down so I can place it on to look at how it sits. Now, it is quite basic, very thin chassis, extremely thin chassis. There is a bit of play in that. Some nice gauge wires. Yes, I do bang on about gauge wires, and this looks like some decent quality stuff. Guide at the front, it is a Sidewinder running from the left-hand side, so Sidewinder motor, and it is a Typhoon, 18,000 RPM, 12 volt, beautiful motor. A couple of my cars have these motors in them. Very, very good motor. So it's got a Typhoon in it. So this should go pretty well. The tyres themselves, they don't feel sticky at all. So I'm not expecting the world out of these tyres, but very, very nice. Now you've got your front axle, which has been screwed down. So those nugget screws or those little Allen key screws will have to be removed to take away this axle. Let's look, and a very, very thin bar magnet in front of the motor, which can be removed because it's got the little clip-ins. So quite a basic setup. It does look like it's very fly-ish, let's just say that. It looks like a fly slot car, but look, they're all from Spain. They're always going to borrow ideas from each other. Nice little bit of plastic exhaust work that's just been solder melted down to be attached to the actual base. Nice little bit of detail. They didn't have to do that. And then upside down, there it is underneath. Very, very thin chassis, really thin chassis. Now the braid itself, it's actually it's very flimsy braid, so I'm hoping that doesn't break off. Might have to repair that. Very flimsy braid on one side, but quite long braid. So let's see how that performs. And a normal sized guide. Nothing too special about the guide there. But there you go. There's the business end of the Falcon slot. It is very fly slot-ish. I'm not want to go down that path, but it looks like it might borrow some cues from them. So let's build it back up. Let's chuck it on my track and let's see if I can post a hot lap from the 5 laps that this thing will perform. Let's get stuck into it. So how did Falcon Slot's Porsche 924 perform around my track? And unfortunately, not too good. It posted a lap time of 13.79, which I've now placed on the SRC Chrono Complex board, and it is my official slowest time. But there is a couple of issues with the car, but they're very quick fixes. Now, one of the issues I found was the factory tyres attached to this car are no good for my track. The reason is the motor it's attached to this chassis is quite quick, it's quite powerful. I cannot use that power through the corners because the car either wants to slide out or de-slot by pushing the guide out of the car, out of the track. I just couldn't hold that power through the corners. On the straights, this car came alive, so very quick on the straights. Another major issue is the braid. Good quality braid makes a lot of difference. Now this braid is very weak and very flimsy and it won't hold shape. And what I mean by that is there's many tricks in slot car racing, but one of the tricks I use is where you straighten the braid out and then you try and kink it on like an L shape. So think of an L shape resting on the track, and that makes constant contact on both rails. This would not hold that shape. It would either push the slot out of the track and then de-slot it, or it would keep losing power because it was not holding shape. It was moving away from the actual track itself. So I could not always put the power down. Now the 5 laps that I posted, which you guys have now seen, was the cleanest and the quickest 5 laps that I could put on there. I did around about 25 laps and that was the greatest I could get. Would I still recommend Falcon Slot? Of course I would. Some tyres on this and some decent braid and this thing would come alive. It was really a decent car. I just didn't have the equipment to make it go as good as I could. This is factory fresh, how I like it. Yes, you can change anything on any car to make it quicker. But as always, at that slot car guy on Instagram and on YouTube, guys, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs so I can live stream with other YouTubers about slot cars and whatever else we can talk about. So I'm trying to get there as quick as I can, but I'm enjoying your support. Any feedback, negative or positive, please hit the comments. I'm always listening and I'm trying to write back to everyone. But as always, be safe, take care, ciao.